Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover on the Elddis CV60, which is a no park special, this one. So as we start the walk round on the outside of the driver's side of the vehicle first point you get to is the LPG point. So this vehicle is fitted as standard with a 25 litre auto gas tank. So you'd simply go and find LPG at your service station, connect, turn the front of the gun, pull the trigger back and push the button on the computer screen on the pump until it stops filling. From empty, these take about 15 to 16 pound to fill, and that's 25 litres in there. Underneath you've got your wastewater, so anything you've put down a plug hole goes into a holding tank, and you simply drive over the service bay on the way out of your site and open and drain that off. In the winter it's very important that you allow both taps to be open and all the water out of the waste and the fresh. So if you've taken on contaminated water, you're simply not using the vehicle for a couple of weeks, or you're doing the drain down, open it up and allow the water out of both. Then you have your intake for your water heater, so it's just the flue, and above you've got the cassette. So this one's got a magnet on, so it'll stick to the side of the vehicle. Make sure that the blade on the inside bowl of the toilet is in the closed position, otherwise this won't come out and you'll be able to lift and slide it out. Lift the handle there so you can drag it around your site so you're not carrying it when it's heavy, and you'd empty it at the waste disposal point, which is normally behind or beside your shower room block. Take the cap off, tip to 90 degrees, push the button in, drain it off, put some water in, give it a rinse, drain it off again. And then if you're using the liquid form, you can either use the blue or the green, a cap full into here and it's good to go back into the vehicle. If you're using the tablet form, you put it in empty, so no water in, completely empty. Then you'd open the blade, you'd flush about a pint of water from the toilet into the cassette and then drop a sachet of either the blue or the green. The green is more environmentally friendly of the tablets of the two, but your site will tell you which tablet or liquid you need to use on their site for their septic tanks. Going further along, got your freshwater intake, so a hose pipe in there, so carry your hose pipe with some hose pipe ends. It's just a brass tap on most sites. Hose into there and wait until it either overflows or until you're happy you've got enough water on board. Simply what I would do is wait until it overflows and you know you've got a full tank. Got a little key, so this key does all the cassette. This key does here, so you can lock this to stop people tampering with your water. You've got an external 240 socket, so if you wanted to charge anything on the outside of the motorhome, you can put a plug in here, chuck the cable underneath the van and then put it on the right side, which is the awning side. You've got your mains 240 volt hookup point, so you get your hookup lead, lift the collar, slide it on there. Always hook the vehicle up first, then the power point, and obviously do it in reverse when unhooking, as we wouldn't want you to walk around with a live lead. Come to the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level brake light with reverse camera built in. You can open your doors, and then if you press these buttons again you get the 90 degrees, and there's a stopper, so it's not going to hit the back lights, not going to damage anything. So just if you're in a lovely scenic spot and you want to have the back doors open on a lovely day, you can do. You've got a folding step there and some storage, some levelling ramps at the front. And then as we come round to the passenger side of the vehicle, you haven't got much apart from the sliding door. But all the services are on the driver's side of the vehicle. You do have a full-size side screen on there, so you can have that shut when the doors open. Your step controls just on the side of the bench there, and underneath is a 3-pin plug when on mains hookup, so you can take the step in and out. At the door of the passenger door you do have your diesel filler, which opens with the main ignition key to fill with fuel. And then because it's a new diesel engine, it's got a 19 litre AdBlue tank So when it needs AdBlue, it'll come on between the temperature and the fuel gauge. If you simply pull into a petrol station, it's on. Most petrol stations have it on the pumps now, or you can buy the drums, which are coming 5 or 10 litres, and you can top this up. Failing to top this up, it'll mean the engine won't start, and if it goes too low, the engine can go into limp mode. If it doesn't start completely, you will need Fair to come out to use the computer to start the vehicle once the AdBlue's been refilled. And you've got your tyre pressures here, so 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi. As it's got an underslung spare wheel at the back, this is your toolkit. So you've got a jack and a brace and a torn eye in there. Then underneath the floor you do have your engine battery. So this cover lifts off, and that's where the engine battery lives, in the carb floor. And your bonnet release is on here. So to the left, underneath the driver side of the vehicle, you've got all your fluids. So you've got your screen wash. This lifts off and you've got power steering and coolant, brake fluid. Then you do have your oil filler and your dipstick for checking your levels. Paint code, so 211 for the Blanco, white and earth. And in here you put your key in or a screwdriver, lift this cover back and you've got a positive. And on here you go off this for the weight, so it's 3.5 ton. If you were to put a tow bar on this and want to tow a car or a trailer or anything with it, you can tow an extra 2 ton behind you, so it can't exceed 5.5 ton. And you've got your SGE number, which is your build number, which is unique to each Elddis build. So when you enter the sliding door, to the left of you, above the passenger seat, you've got all the controls. So you've got your main 12 volt control panel, which is this one here. So this will turn on 12 volt if you're not hooked up off the leisure battery, and if you are hooked up, it'll obviously turn on mains to 40 volt. So you've got your master switch here, which turns the vehicle on and off. Then below that you've got your master switch for your lights, which are all individually switched around the vehicle. You've got your tap, which is your pump. So if you're going to use taps, toilet, shower, put this on, it'll pressurize the water. Otherwise you'll just get whatever's in the lines of the pipelines and it'll just drain off. So you can turn that on and off. You've got the awning light, and then under here you've got your leisure battery reading and your fresh water reading. This is your heating and hot water control panel by Whale. So there's various videos on this online, but running through it, so you've got your hot water at the top. So you start, one wiggly line is 1 kilowatt of electric, and then you can press again and you get 2 kilowatts of electric. Gas by itself if you're wild camping. So if you were on a site, you'd use 2 kilowatts generally. Gas would be if you're wild camping, you've got the gas flame. You've got gas and 1 kilowatt of electric, and you've got gas and 2. Gas and 2 kilowatts of electric is both sources together at the biggest output. So in theory this should heat your water a lot quicker than electric on its own or gas on its own, because you're using the extra of the electric and the quickness of the gas. And then you've got heating on the bottom. So you've got 1 kilowatt of electric, 2 kilowatts of electric, 3 kilowatts of electric. Gas on its own if you're wild camping and you didn't have any hookup facility. And then gas and 2 kilowatts, which again, both sources together, it'll reduce the time it takes to heat the vehicle. Plus and minus, the top's 30 degrees, in the middle here it's about 15. And should you get a warning triangle, which is just like a little exclamation mark here, whatever's failed, to say it was the water heater, you'd press the water heater and the plus button together, press and hold until that was to eliminate all the heating and the plus button together. Please turn these off properly by just going back so that they're not showing anything, so that there's no source. Allow the fans, if the heating's been on, you'll hear the fans whirring in the background. Allow it to consistently go quiet before you turn the main master switch off. Otherwise there is a problem that you will get the exclamation marks, and that's just because you haven't turned the boiler off correctly. And then here, because you've got a 25 litre gas tank fitted, this is shown green, which means the gas is full. So now in the kitchen area, so you've got 3 gas burners on the hob, which are all lit there. Allow these to cool down before you put your glass cooker hood down, as you could smash it with the heat if it's too warm. And then underneath you've got a grill which works there, so hold it until the thermostat gets warm. And below you've got your oven. You've got a storage drawer underneath, directly underneath the oven, and then this little cupboard here is where your boiler drain is for your wheel boiler. So this orange tap, when it's pointing to the front of the vehicle, it's holding 10 litres of water in the underslung boiler. But it's very important that as part of your winterization process, you allow the water out of the boiler, because this is the most expensive part on the vehicle and is about £3,000 to repair if damaged, which would be a replacement boiler. So turn to the side and 10 litres of water will drain out directly out underneath the chassis. Leave it pointing across the vehicle during the time it's stood up. Open the fresh and waste outside, open all the taps within the vehicle, remove the shower head and allow the hose to lie in the shower tray to stop any water that could potentially be coiled up in there. Drain out of the waste, which would be open from outside, so it will just dribble onto the ground. Then when you are ready to use the vehicle, shut the boiler, shut the fresh and waste, shut all the taps, put your hose pipe into the side of the vehicle, fill with water, come in, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get automatic cold water because it's drawn directly out the fresh tank. Go to the hot, it'll cough, splutter, spit, and all it's doing is it's pushing the air out of this 10 litre boiler until the air is replaced by water and you'll get a pressurized flow. So please remember to drain this off, as it's not covered under any warranty, as it's your responsibility to winterize and protect it against frost damage. In here you've got your gas taps, so any problems with gas you can isolate the appliance that's faulty, but these are mainly for when the vehicle is serviced. And you've got some storage. Press the buttons underneath, releases the catches, and you've got plates and some storage in there. Fetchford 12 volt fridge, so you just turn on and it works off 12 volts, so it doesn't matter if you're not hooked up or hooked up, it'll work, because as long as you've got charge in the leisure battery, 12 volt will work. You've got the little moon here which just turns the decibels down on the fridge so it's not as loud, and you've got the temperature at the top. And then when winterizing, if you clean it out and then if you leave the door open when you're not using the vehicle, it stops any mold and bacteria growing in the fridge, so you'll not come back to a smelling fridge. And then underneath here you've got your tabletop, which lives in here, and your wardrobe, and then the top would just go on behind the driver's seat. So there's a leg here which screws into here, and then turning the passenger and driver seats, which I'll show you later on when I go into the cab, you'll be able to use this as a dining space as well. And then in the washroom, so as long as you've got the pump on, you'll be able to press this button here, which is your freshwater flush, which is flush the toilet. Always flush it first, and then you want to open the blade, and open the blade you've got a grey lever here, so slide it to the right. Always flush first as it lubricates the seal. Use the toilet with the blade open, flush after use, and then slide to the left to isolate, which will then allow the cassette to come out should you need to change it. If it's open, the cassette won't come out and you'll know what you've done. And you'll get a couple of lights on here underneath the cassette diagram when it is ready to be changed. Toiletry cabinet, shower head, obviously remove that like I've said, it just pulls out and hangs up here. But it acts as the tap as well, and that's your water there getting lovely and warm. And your plug is a push plug. Got a fly screen and a blackout blind on there. And then to open, you can open it any way you want depending on the wind. So you can open the front and leave the back closed, or you can open both together, or you can take one side down and one side open. It's entirely up to you depending on which way the wind's blowing. Underneath the bed is where you will find the power supply unit. So you've got all your trips, so charger, fridge, water heater, boiler, sockets, main trip RCD on 240 electric. And you've got all your 12 volt fuses here, so they're all listed what they do, so I would carry a spare. And then you've got a little toggle switch here, as this model is fitted with the tank heaters, so if it's going to potentially freeze overnight when you're using it in the colder months, pop these on and it'll put some current through the water to stop the water from freezing in the underslung water tanks. And then at the top of the bed near the back doors, underneath here is your leisure battery. So your leisure battery lives in here, so should you need to access it, it's in there. So the main battery fuse and the leisure battery is all encased in this wooden box. In the cupboard above your telly, so you've got your telly and your TV points here, so your bracket and your light switch for the back. So in this cupboard you've got your solar panel regulator, so it's charging the leisure battery, and as you can see there, battery 1 is flashing green, which means it's fully charged. So solar panel's only as good as the round thing in the sky, so in the summer it's brilliant, in the winter not so much, but it'll still put a bit of charge in with the winter sun. And then you've got your telly booster, as it's a fixed aerial, you can increase or decrease the booster decibels here should you be struggling to get a signal, or should you have it on too strong that this signal's pixelated, you can turn it down until you get a nice picture on the TV. Storage, and then always push the catch behind down to release the door. Storage up here, obviously a bed, and then to make the bed bigger, you'd lift it up, slide it out, slide the mattress out, and then pop the back bit in here to form the bed. So the fixed bed, which is kind of like a day bed, because you can use it as a sofa when that's up during the day. Open the skylights, pull your body weight down, slide along, and then always make sure that the tabs are into here, and you've just give it a little tap to make sure it's secure. All skylights and windows must be closed before you travel. You do have a blackout blind for on an evening and a fly screen for when it's open. You can have that on. To turn the seats using the levers here, you simply pull it back, turn it round. If it was to get stuck on the doors, pull the seat forward and then turn it round into the rear, and you do the same with the driver's seat. And there you have your two seats. Unvelcro the leg, got a pin on the bottom that pops into there, so line it up and then you just hand tighten until it stops moving around, and then the table just sits on there like so. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver you have your handbrake, and then on the door you've got your passenger and driver electric windows, and then you've got your mirror adjustments. So there's two adjustments on each side, so you've got the top and the blind spot to adjust from there. Pinching and sliding along blacks the cab, passenger and driver's doors out, and then doing the same, pinching and sliding along. On a magnetic catch there you've got your windscreen blinds, headlight adjustment and rear fogs, wipers with trip computers which goes through your travelling times, your travelling distance, your instant and average consumption and your range. You've got all your steering wheel controls, your lights and indicators, and then you do have on the bottom there, off, cruise control on, get your desired speed, push up. Should you have to cancel it, you can either cancel it on the end of the stalk or with the foot brake and resume it to the last speed set before the engine was turned off. And then you've got your speed limiter, so going up slightly goes up in 1s, pushing and holding goes up in 5s. Then you do have the kick down function, so you can put the accelerator at the floor and it will override the speed limiter as a safety feature. 6-speed manual gearbox with up into reverse, lifting the collar brings on the rear view camera through the head unit. ASR offs, anti-slip relief, so it's just another way for turning your traction control off should you need to. Hazards, this one locks the doors. As it being a van conversion, it's got central locking on all doors, so the cab, the sliding cargo door and the rear bottom doors. Heated mirrors, USB for charging and 12 volt. Lockable centre glove box, and you do have your USB connection in there for the head unit. Temperature on the outside ring, fan speed must be on 1 or more for the aircon to work, which is this one here. And then you've got your distribution, so you can have it on your face, your feet, or both, or the screen for demist, and whether you're bringing fresh air in or you're recirculating air within the vehicle. Head unit, so it's a Fiat head unit. So you've got FM, AM and DAB, 1 to 3, or press all and you can save you 12 of your favourite radio stations. Pressing media is either USB, Bluetooth audio, or that's it because it doesn't take a CD. Navigation is TomTom navigation. So it's just loading up there. Select your country. Just pop an hour postcode in there because it's asking to set home up, and I wouldn't advise you do set home up, especially not your actual address. I wouldn't really set that up, because what it can do is if somebody steals your motorhome, they know where you live, and that's not what you want. So just pop it as near enough at home, but somewhere you can navigate to. Once so like I say, somewhere you can navigate to, and then you can find your way home from there. So we've just put our postcode in, so you go navigate to home. If you want to change that address, pop your postcode in there and then search. If you did take this vehicle abroad, you would press on the Union Jack flag there and change it to the country you're in, and then you can put your coordinates and your other different numbers and digits they use as postcodes instead of a postcode like us. Phone, connect your phone settings, add phone, and you can connect your phone. So find you, connect on your device, make sure your pins match. Once you have, press pair, then your phone will ask you if you want to allow your contacts to be saved. Press allow and it'll download your phone book. And then on more, you've got a clock, a compass and a trip, so you can see trip A and trip B. So your fuel consumption 29.3, 36.6 on consumption B, your average speed, your average distance and your travelling times. You've got a handy, if you pull this up from the back, don't be afraid to be too strong, paper clip, or you can pull this lever out here and you can lock your phone in there by pushing that in. And then you've got a glove box here which is heated and cooled by the air conditioning, and another one on the front.